been nice to relax and switch off, recharge the batteries, or frustrating given the form the team was in?
Yeah, a little bit frustrating. I think long breaks for us haven't been great, so we all want to keep going when we could. But I mean, for me personally, I've just had a newborn baby, so it was nice just to sort of catch up on some sleep and spend a little time with him. And I think the lads have all got it in their head that we've had sort of a couple of weeks to sort of rest and recuperate, and now we've got one big month to push for promotion.
Were you able to switch off then from the other results, or have you been keeping an eye on the teams around you?
Yeah, no, I think we've all been pretty much keeping an eye on what's been going on in the league, and I think there's been some different results, but all in all, pretty good for us. But they don't mean anything unless we go out and get the results on the pitch in the coming games.
And in terms of training, has it been difficult to focus, given that there's been no competitive matches at the weekend, especially with the enormity of the two games that are coming up?
No, I think we've got quite a good group when it comes to training. It's quite a competitive group, so although obviously the edge isn't quite the same, we're sort of working towards a game. I think all the lads competing against each other is enough to make the training decent enough, and we had a game to work towards last Friday, sort of a non-competitive game away at QPR, and yeah, I think it was a good test sort of to keep us going and give us a bit of game time, and I think the training's been spot on up until now.
Important to get some minutes into the legs for some of the boys last week at QPR. Is there any positives you could take from the game despite the result?
Yeah, massive positives. I think they scored 3 goals in the last 5 minutes, and we changed the team, brought a lot of youth teamers and trialists on. And yeah, I think considering the side that they had out, I mean, they were missing internationals as well, but there was still an unbelievable array of talent on the pitch, and I think it was positive that it was just sort of 3-1 for the majority of the game, which is, I think, credit to us. I think we played really well, and we were all sort of saying that with a full-strength side, we would have backed ourselves against them.
And since you last played, obviously Sam Ricketts has come in. You've carried the burden of the experienced player for the whole of the season. Has that been nice for you to see him walk through the door, and what do you think he'll bring to the squad?
Yeah, I've seen very little of him so far. I think I've played against him a couple of times, and I remember watching him here for Wolves last season. He was very good, and all the lads were impressed. Possibly at the time, I think we were saying he's one of the best players on the pitch. So it's nice to have him in the building, and nice to have someone else bringing more experience to the party. Obviously, he's a bit older than me as well, so he's got the winning mentality, and he knows what it takes to get promoted out of this division. So hopefully, he can share all that wisdom with us.
Do you think it might be a case of you and the likes of Sam keeping the younger players' feet on the floor, not looking at the bigger picture that you might get promoted this year, but just taking each game as it comes?
Yeah, obviously you don't want to sort of say too many football cliches to the lads, but yeah, I think it unfortunately they're said for a reason. I mean, it is at this stage of the season just focusing on MK Dons for the time being, and then once you got that out of the way, you focus on Bristol City, and like you say, take it a game at a time. And yeah, I think it's important that we don't look too far into the future and just concentrate, especially with so many games coming thick and fast. It's important that you don't lose sight of our next opponents and what we've got to do to be there.
You've obviously had the 5 or so lads away on international duty, so pleased for John Swift getting goals and Yasser as well.
Yeah, obviously I think it's a record. I think with Sam coming in as well, technically we had 7 internationals, so yeah, it was great to see all the lads playing, 4 lads representing England, and obviously the 2 lads that we've had away with the Asia Cup teams as well. So yeah, I think credit to all the boys. I think it sounds like they all did pretty well, and I've heard some good reports from all of them.
And do you think that will maybe give them an air of confidence coming back, having been on international duty, and a positive impact for the running?
Yeah, I think from what sang that they all did well, and most of them came back on Tuesday, so we had a bit of training with them. They all seemed in good spirits, and it was nice to have them back in the building, because we haven't got a massive squad, so when you take 7 people out of it, it's been quite quiet around here recently.
And in terms of MK Dons coming up on Saturday, if you are to beat them, it would be 4 points with a game in hand. Do you think that's a huge thing psychologically, up against MK Dons?
Yeah, definitely. I think at this stage of the season, you bring a gap like that. Unfortunately, the games in hand don't really count for a lot until it's sort of nicer to have points on the table than it is to have a game in hand. But yeah, I think it deal a little bit of a blow to them, but we know it's not going to be an easy game. They beat us all at their place, and it was a tough game, and they're a good footballing side as well, so I think it'll be a good spectacle.
Do you see a few